Hi, and welcome back to another Amazon selling video. My name is Nikki Kirk, and this will be my 8th Q4 selling on Amazon. Q4 is the most exciting time of the year. It's the time I go all out on my Amazon business. I kind of like roll it, do it super part-time the first part of the year or the first 3/4 of the year. I think that's a common misconception that people think I do this full-time. I've only ever done it part-time, but I do go basically full-time in Q4 because the payoff is there and worth it for me to go hard in Q4. So with that, I just want to say, let the record show I do this part-time selling on Amazon, but I love Q4, and so it's so much fun. In fact, I'll probably mention it later in this video, but I went toy shopping yesterday to check out what's new in the aisles for the toy aisles, and I already sold stuff literally yesterday. I listed it yesterday and sent it out this morning because it sold overnight. So there's stuff out there, and I'm getting real excited. My annual Q4 Bolo group opens next Sunday, August 25th. But here's what you need to know about it. It is limited to just 200 sellers. So once we hit that mark, the doors will close. It will be closed until next year, 2025. So if you plan to join it, get on the early access list. YourSellingGuide.com/early access. You'll be sent. It's just a Google form, name, email. That's it. You're on the list. That list already has 300 names on it, and it's only 200 spots available. So you definitely want to make sure you're on that list. I didn't do an early access list last year, and the whole group sold out in 3 days. So it's definitely going to be selling out again this year, and you want to be on that list to make sure you can secure your spot. If you're on that list, you will be getting an email the morning of August 22nd with the link to join the group if you want to. So definitely sign up. Make sure that you have my email. It'll be coming from info@YourSellingGuide. So make sure you have that email address saved to your contacts or in your address book, and stay tuned because the morning of August 22nd, I will be sending out the link to join the group if you want to. So definitely mark your calendars, save the date, add me to your contacts list, and let's do Q4. I do have a page online on my website, YourSellingGuide.com/Q4 2024, which has all of the information about the Q4 group. A whole FAQ section, so if you have any questions, most likely it's answered there. It has all the dates for the live hangouts, which are every other Wednesday in Q4. For the most part, there's one on Tuesday, the week of Thanksgiving. But all those dates are there, as well as the pricing. So there's 2 different options. There's a 1 payment option, which is a little bit cheaper, or if you need to break it up into 2 payments, all that information is there. So YourSellingGuide.com/Q4 2024. In this week's video, I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks from real sellers selling on Amazon. So these sellers were all in the Q4 group last year, and they shared their responses both before Q4 started. They shared what they were expecting to do, what their concerns were, and then after Q4, they shared how they did and tips on what they're going to do different this year, what if their concerns were valid, all that kind of stuff. So this video is for sure going to help you plan your Q4. First up is Alicia Jackson. Alicia started selling in October of 2022, so 2023 Q4 was her first full Q4. She'd been doing it basically a year by that point. Before Q4 even started, she shared, "I believe that Amazon can work. I'm still just trying to figure out the whole process and find a good flow. Technically, this is my second Q4, but I say that's my first because I literally signed up for Amazon in October 22 while trying to learn and get ungated." Her highest grossing month up until this point, before Q4 of 2023, was $5,000 gross sales in the month of April. Heading into Q4, she says she felt unsure, was running low on capital, and was just trying to be more specific on the items she bought. Her goal for Q4 was to use a budget of about $1,200 each month due to the low capital. "My hope is that my sales increase to at least 10K. So 10K was her gross sales goal for Q4. Checking in after Q4, Alicia said she was pleasantly surprised to exceed her sales goals. Capital was and is still an issue, but with the increase in sales, I was able to make more strategic but profitable purchases that helped. In the end, Alicia had her highest gross sales month in December with $14,000 in just the 1 month. That clearly blew her $10,000 gross sales out of the water. So congratulations, Alicia, on that awesome month. So what did she do? What did she implement in Q4? Alicia shared that she added new sourcing places and the shipping templates from the Q4 group. She shortened the handling time for FBM orders and focused her goals by not chasing down every single lead. Looking ahead to Q4 this year, Alicia says she plans to stock more inventory, finding higher ROI leads. She also shared that she recommended the Q4 Bolo group to other sellers because the support and network was amazing. It opened my eyes to so many different ways to approach RA sourcing. Here is a screenshot that you may have seen already, but this is from Alicia posting in the Q4 Bolo group about the FBM orders from last year. I hope you've heard me say it. If this is the first time you're hearing me say it, you're going to hear it throughout this video. FBM is so important during Q4. Amazon has already sent out an email telling us they are going to deprioritize FBA shipments in the months of November and December. So that means if you don't have all your stock already in the warehouse by the end of October, you're going to want to FBM a whole lot of it. Now, am I still going to send shipments? Yes. They say this every year. It really does. It does get backed up. Things do start to get backed up. So if you're sending in a bunch of Christmas stuff in November, it is kind of a crapshoot, for lack of a better word. Sorry, Mom. They might check it in or they might not. So you want to have FBM in your arsenal, and there's going to be more tips from other sellers on FBM as we continue our journey through their successes and their concerns about Q4. Next up is Grant Cogwell. So Grant and his girlfriend actually started selling on Amazon in March of 2023 as a side hustle. They were mostly doing OA, which if you do OA, it kind of has lower ROIs than you can get with retail arbitrage. And so they were eager to branch out into retail arbitrage. Heading into Q4, Grant was feeling anxious, excited, and stressed. He said his goal was to do $10,000 of profit in Q4, and their main concern was managing cash flow, being able to source with the chaos of the holiday shopping season, and of course, shipping out all those FBM orders. After Q4, Grant said they exceeded their profit goal of $10,000, and their concerns about heading into the season were valid. We nearly got overwhelmed with FBM orders, but powered through, and we are glad we did. We did not do much RA sourcing as originally planned at certain stores, but the upside was avoiding those long lines and holiday chaos. Things that they hadn't considered going into Q4 were the FBM supplies. So even though we had stocked up on supplies like Nikki recommended, the problem we encountered were certain sizes of polybags and FBM boxes we burned through way faster than others due to the certain chases. We had to scramble to find more boxes especially, but there was no way of knowing what size you would need because of the chase. Q4 is crazy time, so I always recommend stocking up on supplies now, getting all kinds of boxes. Like if you have certain items you think you're going to FBM or like toys, another reason to go down the toy aisle, right? Like you even take a measuring tape. You can kind of measure. Most toys tend to be the same size. So I have a lot of 12 by 9 by 6s. I actually need to order a 12 by 9 by 8 box. Because I have a toy I'm currently selling that needs a little bit more room, but you can order a bunch of different things. I always go with Uline. I know there's other, like the Boxery, but the Boxery doesn't have the size of the box printed on the bottom of it, which is super helpful to me. So I literally this morning was going through all my boxes on my cardboard box organizer thing, like seeing what size box I have. And so without it printed on the box, it's hard to know what size box it is unless you have some other way to do it. Also, some of the boxes they sent me aren't together. Like, you know how they're supposed to be 4 sides, whatever. It's not even together at all. It's basically one flat thing. So I'm going to have to tape the sides. So I'm not going with them anymore, but I did try them out because some of you guys told me it was great. But anyways, so I do Uline. Yes, the shipping sucks. But I try to order a whole lot at once to make the shipping not suck as bad. During Q4, Grant did say that he implemented a repricer, but ended up manually repricing daily anyways. So that is something he says maybe should have been considered for slower months. Looking ahead, this Q4, Grant says he plans to anticipate supply needs better, organize their stock more, and of course, send more stock in FBA. Would he recommend the Q4 group? Absolutely. Very helpful with information from Nikki and staff, just people being helpful. A couple of the chasers shared way more than paid for the membership of the group. So I did want to note one thing on repricers. So last Q4, I had the old repricer that I was using that I didn't even like, so I didn't even really turn it on much. The thing with the repricers in Q4 specifically is things get crazy. Hot items will jump crazy in price. Like as soon as that lowball seller sells out, they can jump really fast and really high. So you might not be aware of what the price is. So you want to make sure if you are using a repricer that you have your max maybe set more than you think you should be, just in case the price goes high. The other thing is that Amazon will price cap stuff, and now the stupid price caps are setting alerts in the account health too. Like when you have that and you have to set them in and max, it's a whole annoying thing. So the repricer, if you don't already have one, I would agree, like maybe Q4 is not the best time. However, it does help you because it's always changing the price. So I'm using Profit Protector Pro now. I will be using it during Q4. I really do like it. It's selling my stuff for more than the buy box. So I'm probably just going to be in my repricer more, even every day during Q4, versus how I normally do it, which is I kind of go in once a week now. And I'm definitely not manually repricing things in Amazon at all anymore. So just something to consider on a repricer. Next up is Jonathan and Julie Stevens. They have been selling since literally they signed up to sell on Amazon the week, I think after Christmas, like that Christmas break of 2022. So last year was their first like Q4, and it was cool because at the end of Q4, they were hitting their first full year of selling on Amazon. Heading into Q4, their best sales month was August 2023 with $9,000 of sales. They were feeling a little bit burned out already, frustrated with Amazon because of all the compliance documents requests, search suppressed listings, and they were anxiously waiting for their stuff to start selling. Julie's main concern heading into Q4 was that things just won't sell, like everyone says, like me, like how I'm like, everything sells during Q4, everything with an asterisk, because things really do start selling, but she was concerned that, maybe we're blowing hot air, and that's not really true. So that's a valid concern if this is your first Q4. Since they didn't really have a goal that they set from themselves other than from their stuff to move, I wanted to check in and see how it went. So Julie says, Q4 was fun. I didn't set any goals, I just wanted stuff to sell. We sold almost $25,000 in December, which made me really happy, and we finally got ahead with earnings. We actually made enough profit that we were able to pay ourselves from the first time since starting in December of 2022. Okay, so what about her concern that we were all hyping it up? She says, while not everything sold, we did sell a ton of our inventory and it got very low, which I actually liked. So at the beginning of January, I did a big sourcing trip to restock product and find new products. One of the things that they hadn't considered about Q4 was the amount of last minute buying that happened. That surprised me. I didn't know why it surprised me. We had tons of expedited shipments and we made good money on the shipping costs that customers paid. Also, because we didn't expect to sell much FBM, we almost ran out of boxes and polybags. We literally used all of several polybag sizes and we resorted to using larger sizes. Julie says they switched to FBM during the end of November and all of December because she was worried they wouldn't get shipments in for FBA in order to start selling. We sold more FBM in 1 month than we ever did in a whole year. Are we hearing a theme here? FBM and supplies. Looking ahead to Q4 this year, Julie plans to buy more polybags and boxes. We need to overstock our shipping items and be ready for the influx. I also plan to source more at the end of summer and in October to have lots of stock on hand, starting with Black Friday when sales really start to pick up. Would they recommend the Q4 group? For sure. Not only were they great leads, but the knowledge, kindness, and helpfulness from others by members of the group is more valuable than money can buy. Having that community to rely on is priceless. Knowledge is power, and shared knowledge from the experienced sellers and even new sellers is extremely helpful. I really enjoy your groups. It feels like a big, small town where everyone knows each other and they offer so much assistance. Supplies, 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 supplies. I just ordered a bunch of polybags a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago now, and I need to already order a whole lot more, and that's just with regular FBA orders that I'm sending in. So I am planning to really stock up on supplies because yes, you can get your polybags next day or 2 days with Amazon, but a lot of times that's too long to wait. So you definitely want to have a supply situation like in hand. So I think if you have a Granger near you, I think they sell boxes and they might sell polybags. I don't know. I don't have one near me. So that's a good option if you need like same day or next day pickups, but definitely get your boxes now. Next up, we have seller Victoria Hills. Victoria also started selling in December of 2022, so Q4 2023 was her first official full Q4. She said she felt nervous but hopeful, and her higher grossing sale month to date was $3,745. Her main concerns with Q4 selling was whether I will find enough products and with good ranks to sell. I am finding 20 to 30 products per week on average that are decent currently. I'm not sure if I'm being too picky. Her goal for Q4 was $15,000 in sales. At the end of Q4, Victoria ended up with over $18,000 in gross sales, so blowing her goal out of the water. Congratulations, Victoria. As far as her concerns about finding products, I made sure to keep sourcing and not giving up hope that I could find good products to source. I really was able to find 3 to 4 ASINs that ended up contributing to a significant amount of sales that I was able to purchase in large quantities and replen. The name of the game for Q4 ends up being replen. So starting in October, if you're selling costumes or anything that just needs to replen, you will be replen. In fact, into Q4, most of what I'm doing in stores is sourcing bolos that are shared, hunting down things that I already know sell. I am scanning stuff, but I'm not scanning a whole lot of new stuff like I do in the rest of the year. It's literally running into the store, grabbing the products on my list, running back out to the next store, and so on and so on. So it really does become that replen chase. Things she hadn't considered before Q4 that came up: definitely need to take some days off during the peak period of December 5th to 20th. I was incredibly overwhelmed trying to work my full-time job and prepare and send out FBM orders at the same time. Ultimately, a good problem to have. Looking ahead to Q4, she said she plans to get more in FBA before Q4 and reference the Q4 group and her own bolo list more frequently and strategically, especially when it comes to sourcing Black Friday sales. This did come up last year in the group. Like, someone asked when was like the best time to take time off of work. So if you do have a full-time job, the craziest time is those, not necessarily the first week of December, but that second and third week is when all the last minute, which I swear happens to be like almost all holiday shoppers, start to sell. So if you were needing to take a day or a week, whatever it is, off from your full-time job and you have that ability, that for Amazon selling specifically, that like week of, let me look at my calendar. I would say the week of like December 9th to 13th, possibly 16th to 20th, is the crazy time. It's when all the FBM orders are flying. It's when most of the chases and like we're selling everything the fastest. So if you wanted a week, that would be my recommendations. That second or third week before Christmas is when I would recommend taking time off. Luckily, I don't have to take time off from that, but yeah. So I did want to talk about the ramp up to Q4 if this is your first full Q4. So I kind of liken it to a roller coaster. You know how you get on and it's like that click, slow, click, 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 click up, and then the whole roller coaster will be over real fast. So it does take a while to go up and really start taking off. So even halfway through October, you might be in the group and being like, okay, like when are these sales going to start happening? It really kind of takes off. If you have like I was selling a lot of costumes last year, I plan to do it again this year. If you have a lot of hot costumes that you're selling, your October will be better than most months, hopefully, so far in the year. But it's like pales in comparison to what November and December will do. So really, even halfway through November, it's still kind of leading up to the drop. So by the time Black Friday, Cyber Monday rolls around, that is when things really kick off and get crazy, and your sales will really spike around that time. So then you get into December, and like I just said, which weeks to take off for December? Off to focus on Amazon, not off of Amazon, is that like first 3 weeks of December leading up to Christmas. Everyone's buying literally everything. Everything's selling. I sell baking stuff. I sell napkins. I sell groceries, coffee, just everything, not even holiday specific, just everything starts to sell. Everything with an asterisk starts to sell. So it really is that ramp up. So definitely don't get bogged down if you're like, it's not selling. We're in first week of November and my sales still aren't that great. It does get better. So just keep holding on. You want to have as much capital and you want to have as much stock as you can in the warehouse as well as listed FBM. I do recommend taking breaks though. So like a weekend is a great time to take a break unless that's your only time to source. during December, because you don't have any FBM orders that have to go out over the weekend, or at least I don't, the way I have my template set up. I don't ship on the weekends. So anything sold on Friday, I have to ship it out Monday. So you have that break where you can take some breaks. For me, I go all out in December until December 20th, and then I'll take off December 20th all the way through like January 6th, that first like Monday full week in January, because if I'm not on vacation, because there is like a vacation to a beach somewhere, my Q4. That's another Q4 tip. Plan a vacation. Plan something in January or February for yourself so that you can just be like, after you've worked so hard in Q4, you can relax and enjoy those profits. So how I do it is I will go all out those 3 weeks of December, and then I'll take a break. And by break, I'm still sending out FBM orders during those weeks, but I'm not sourcing. I'm just relaxing. I'm giving myself a break because it is crazy. The FOMO is real. You always feel like you're not doing enough, but you're working really hard and there's literally nothing else you could possibly do. So the FOMO is crazy even if you are going all out. Victoria said she does recommend the Bolo group. It's an excellent community, non-judgmental, and a safe place to ask questions. I love being a part of your groups and I'm so grateful for everything you do. Thank you, Victoria. Next up, we have Zack Bevin's. Zack started selling in August of 2022. I also started selling in August of 2017, so I just personally think August is a great time to start selling. But anyways, he started, and so this was technically his second Q4. Leading up to it, his highest gross sales months were February of 2023 with $15,000 in sales. He was excited, but his main concern was capital. I already spent in September alone everything I had banked up from the last year of sales. Hopefully I can turn that quickly and keep going. His goal was $50,000 in sales for Q4. So how did his second Q4 go? Zack said he did $46,000 in sales, just close to his goal of $50,000, which is pretty good, especially considering a few unexpected things popped up, like being hit by a drunk driver. That threw off my operation a bit, and I couldn't focus on Amazon as much as I wanted to. His concerns about capital were a non-issue. I never passed up on inventory due to capital constraints, and I still made risky buys. However, I did have to be mindful and watch my accounts to ensure that I wasn't incurring any additional fees and penalties while I waited for Amazon payouts. Next year, I hope to go into Q4 with a larger war chest. His new highest grossing sales month was in October with $17,000 in gross sales. One thing he hadn't considered was Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday was way better than I anticipated, so putting a limit on my FBM orders may have been a good idea. I packed for a long time. So you can set order limits, like how many orders we will allow in a day. So you can set it to 80, only 80 orders will come through. I have never set that, so I'm just like, I'm going to take all the orders I can get. And if I'm packing till midnight, I'm packing till midnight. But you do want to have that considered if you have, family, job you have to get to. How many orders can you possibly pack up in a day? And if you hit a day where you're like, okay, 150 was too much, maybe you set it after that. So just something to consider as we get into Q4. One thing he did say he did new for Q4 was splitting my FBF shipments into smaller batches. Those mega batches felt like a slow process. I spent so much time trying to find the right FN SKU label for the right product, especially with 400 plus labels at a time. Batches under 100 were key. So now that Amazon kind of splits our stuff up anyways, there's that part, but I do agree, like I have so much stuff here I need to send in, but I'm just sending in batches of like 200 to 300 at a time. So maybe something to consider if you're feeling overwhelmed is just send about 100 products, get them out the door, but then you can do another batch of 100 products same day and send it out with the same UPS shipment, like pickup, but it's just a different batch, and it will help you kind of control your situation. I also really like Inventory Lab, the buy list, and then just the pack and ship where you put stuff in the box, which one you scan it and put it in. So things to consider that might help you out with your FBA shipments in Q4. Looking ahead to Q4 2024, Zack says he plans to have more capital, branching out into more stores, looking into something like Seller Board to be better with analytics, and lean more into FBA. FBM orders disrupted my workflow often, whereas I felt like I could FBA quickly in large quantities. Does Zack recommend the Q4 Bolo group? Yes, the Hangouts were super helpful and a nice way to build community. So as I mentioned, this will be my 4th Q4 of selling on Amazon, so I wanted to go through my goals as well. I will echo what Julie said she said it last year, but it's still true this year, that I am super frustrated and annoyed with Amazon in general. The random restricted products, the nut and seed glitch, they are just marking things that I just sent in as defective, not warehouse damage, not UPS distributor damage, just defective. How is something I just packed to you last week defective? There's so many things that are frustrating me with Amazon right now, but that being said, I'm still making a huge goal to do even better than I did last year, this Q4. Gross sales, so that's those 3 months, October, November, December, I did $126,000 of sales, and I did just over $31,000 of profit. So this Q4, my goal is $40,000 in profit. I went sourcing yesterday, like I said. I found some new toys. They sold same day, listed FBM. So naturally, I'm hunting those down. I did share one in the Bolo group already, and I am super eager to get more and more of those. So I am going to be buying more supplies for FBM. I'm going to be making more bundles. I'm going to be digging into what is selling, what I sold last year, making sure I get it this year. My goal is to scale my sales every year. Hearing what other sellers do is great, right? I love to hear and celebrate other sellers' successes, but at the end of the day, it's you versus you. It's me versus me. I want to do better than I did last year. I want to do better than I did last month. That's always my goal. So take a look at what your sales are so far this year, what's been your best month, what's been your best quarter, and make a goal for yourself for Q4. Who cares if it's crazy? Who cares if it's low and you sandbag yourself and you do way better than you thought you would? Leave a comment in this video. What are your goals for this Q4? But before I say goodbye, I do have some more tips and tricks from sellers. So let's jump into that. Kelly B said one thing she hadn't considered was the burnout. How burnt out Q4 is once you really get close to the holidays. Like I said, that time right before Christmas, and especially around Thanksgiving, both holidays, is crazy. If it's crazy shopping time, it's crazy selling time. This Q4, she plans to set aside time for herself and her family to relax. She said she absolutely would recommend the Q4 group. It was a fun group and we all tackled Q4 together. It led to a cohesiveness through a stressful time. Cheryl R. said she ended up doing more FBM on a much larger scale than she did last year. She actually hired out some people for extra help. This year, she plans to load up on FBM until the end of November and prepare for FBM in December. She recommended the Q4 group because it was a big help for chasing leads. Heather B. said this Q4, she plans to have more capital available. I plan to source more and earlier and send in more FBA early. I did run out of FBA inventory, so that was heartbreaking. One thing she hadn't considered before Q4 was the complete exhaustion. I also got sick, so Q4 did not go as planned at all. I was also disappointed with the price tanking. For some reason, I thought it would be a little better in Q4. She does recommend the group because during this crazy time, you need the group to help you with not only the business stuff and bolos, but tips and just the support and laughs. Jennifer K. said one of the things she hadn't considered for Q4 was the sales velocity in December. This wasn't a bad thing, but now understanding that velocity in the first half of the month will help for next December. She also shared that about halfway through Q4, I got really strict with our ROI. I only purchased items that hit 85% plus ROI. I really wanted our money to work for us since we had limited time. We ended up having a gross profit ROI for Q4 of 90%, which is amazing. Congratulations, Jennifer. Planning ahead for this year, they will be buying more inventory in October and November. Now I have a good understanding of how much I need to spend to hit certain revenue goals. Sending more inventory to Amazon in November for that early December rush. Our FBA inventory got a bit light. She said she does recommend the Q4 group because it was a wonderful support group. All sellers need a place to ask questions, bounce ideas, and feel like they're in it together. The bolos were good, but for me personally, the community aspect was better. So like I mentioned, you can get on that early access list for the Q4 group at yoursellingguide.com/early access and keep an eye out for the email. It will be going out around 11 a.m. on August 22nd, Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So definitely get on the list, check your inboxes because it will be coming out. Next week's YouTube is going to be a YouTube live video where I'm going to be going over the new things that are happening on Amazon this Q4 versus last Q4, as well as answering all of your guys' questions about Q4, how to prep for it now, and any other question you have about selling on Amazon. I'm sure there's going to be some stupid glitch we're all dealing with. Yay, Amazon. But yeah, so I look forward to chatting with you guys next week. And until then, have a great week and happy sourcing.